We're at a crossroads as creators. Every week, another tool drops promising to make us faster, sharper, more efficient, sometimes even more creative. But here's the question no one seems willing to answer out loud. How much of your work is still yours when the tools are doing so much of the heavy lifting? Some say AI is the future. Others say it's the end of craftsmanship. I don't think either side is completely right or completely wrong, but I do think we're overdue for an honest conversation about where the line actually is. That's what today's episode is about. You're listening to Shutter and Algorithms. I'm your host, Daniel Douglas, and this is episode 16, Ethical AI and the Creative Conscience. To really understand where we are right now, we have to start with the tools we've already placed into our workflow, long before we ever called it AI. Before we get into the technical side of AI, I want to slow things down for a moment. There's a shared curiosity among creatives whenever a new tool emerges and challenges how we see our craft. That feeling, that mix of curiosity, caution, and possibility is where I want to start. We talk about artificial intelligence as if it were an outsider that suddenly broke into the creative world. But if you've been behind a camera or in an editing timeline for even a few years, you already know the tech has been here for a long time. Your autofocus, your noise reduction, your dynamic range optimization. Behind every one of those features is technology that learns how we work. It isn't an invasion. It's an evolution of the tools we already rely on. When I'm shooting a corporate headshot, my Canon R5C uses intelligent face detection to track my subject. It lets me focus on connection, expression, and direction, not hunting for focus points. That's what I call intentional aid. I'm still fully responsible for the creative decisions, but the tool helps me move faster and more efficiently. That's where I want to anchor today's conversation, right at the intersection of human intuition and intelligent tools. So here's the question I want you to sit with. If AI is already baked into our tools, does it still make sense to be afraid of it? Or should we be more concerned about what happens when we stop being intentional with it? Because the real danger isn't AI, it's complacency. When we let the tool dictate the outcome, that's when authorship starts to slip.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, Daniel here. Quick break. If something in this episode sparks a question, an idea, or you want to challenge a point, don't keep it to yourself. Head over to shutterandalgorithms.com/voice and drop me a quick voice message. I listen to everyone, and your thoughts help shape future episodes. Jump in, be a part of the conversation. Now back to the show. Before we go deeper, I want to share something I've been developing. A personal framework I call the Adaptive Hybrid Creator. This came from trying to balance my love of technology with my commitment to craftsmanship. The idea is simple. We can adapt to smarter tools without surrendering what makes our work human. This framework stands on 5 pillars: intentional aid, human finalization, selective disclosure, craft elevation, and ethical ownership. These are the guideposts I use for my own work, and they'll be part of how we frame today's conversation. So when you hear me refer to the adaptive hybrid creator, that's what I'm talking about. A way to keep creativity human while still embracing tools that help us grow. We're in an era where authorship is more contested than ever. Who owns an image when part of it was shaped by a model trained on millions of images? And what happens when a client asks for a Leibowitz style headshot and your lighting setup gets you 90% of the way there? Is that imitation, influence, or something else entirely? Here's how I see it. Learning from someone's visual language has always been part of the creative process. Every photographer, filmmaker, designer, we all draw from the artists who came before us. But feeding someone's entire portfolio into a model and spitting out imitations, that's not influence, that's extraction. When I use AI tools, no matter how helpful they are, I still finalize every detail myself. The retouching, the color grading, the subtle choices that shape the final image. That's why I still feel complete authorship. The tool proposes, I decide. The human fingerprint is more than a stylistic choice. It's instinct, it's judgment, it's restraint, and it's non-transferable. Okay, let's talk about disclosure. The debate that usually sparks the hottest opinions. Should creators reveal when they used AI? Do clients deserve to know? Does every enhancement really need a disclaimer? My stance is simple. Context defines ethics. If AI simply streamlines your workflow, cleaned up the tones, correct minor distractions, there's no ethical requirement to disclose that. We've been retouching and optimizing images with non-AI tools for decades. But if AI meaningfully shaped the image, altered identity, created visual elements, or directly influenced perception, then disclosure becomes part of the creative integrity. Transparency only matters when it changes the viewer's understanding. Over disclosure becomes noise. Under disclosure becomes deception. And as I've worked through all of this in my own creative life, I realized something. Creators don't just need opinions, they need structure. So I've been building a tool that puts this approach into practice, something actionable that photographers, videographers, and content creators can actually use. It's part of a larger project I'll be sharing soon, but the goal is simple: to give creators a way to stay organized, stay ethical, and stay human as technology evolves. Here's what I want to know. Where do you draw the ethical line with AI in your creative workflow? What's acceptable? What crosses the line? And why? I want real, honest takes, especially the ones you think others might disagree with. So send me an audio response with your perspective. The strongest and most thought-provoking submissions will be featured in a detailed follow-up episode. These new tools have opened the doors wider than ever. More people can create, more voices can participate. That's a good thing. But access isn't artistry. Automation can accelerate workflow, but it can't teach taste, restraint, or empathy. It can't replace the instinct that comes from hours behind the camera or years of learning how light behaves. If you caught the last episode, you'll remember I talked about a tech failure during a headshot session at an event. That moment reminded me of something important. Technology is powerful, but it's not infallible. And when it fails, it's the human behind the camera who solves the problem. AI only dilutes craftsmanship when we allow it to. So, here's your creative playbook as an adaptive hybrid creator. Number 1, use AI with intent, never by default. 2, retain authorship. Finalize everything with your own eye. 3, disclose when it meaningfully shapes perception. 5, use AI to elevate, not shortcut, your craft. And 5, take responsibility for the output, because ownership is ethical, not just legal. We're evolving alongside our tools. The tools will keep changing, and so will we. If we stay curious, intentional, and rooted in purpose, AI becomes a partner, not a threat. We opened this episode by asking what it means to have a creative conscience in the age of AI. And the answer isn't fear, it's responsibility. As adaptive hybrid creators, we don't resist innovation, we refine it. We use intelligent tools to expand our expression, not replace it. And for those of you who resonate with this framework, I'm building something you're going to want to see. A tool designed for photographers, videographers, and content creators who want to stay organized, focused, and ethical in a fast-changing landscape. More on that coming soon. Thank you for joining me on Shutter and Algorithms, where creativity and technology meet to remind us what it means to be human in a digital world. But before you go, here's the one question I want you to consider. Where do you draw the ethical line with AI in your creative workflow? What's acceptable? What crosses the line, and why? I want honest, unfiltered perspectives, especially the ones you think others won't agree with. Check the show notes for the link to submit your audio response. The strongest and most thought-provoking submissions will be featured in an upcoming follow-up episode. Here's a quick look at what's coming next. We're shifting gears in episode 17. I'm sitting down with a founder who's reshaping how creators collaborate and exchange value. It's a grounded, honest conversation about building something from scratch in a way that serves a community, not just a market. I'll catch you on the next episode.